What's up, guys? Casey and George with the Go on Bracket Racing YouTube channel. We already got Ed Torrance is over there in the YouTube chat. What's up, man? Appreciate you being with us. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Just literally about dropped the mouse right there and exited out of the YouTube thing. Hopefully that didn't affect anything there. But George, why don't you tell us about this is the week we've all been waiting for, right? So this is the week of getting the truck.
This is that week, and can't be more excited. I don't. I think the adrenaline might already be pumping. Getting ready to load up tomorrow. I'd say around 3 in the morning, maybe a little bit later than that. I'm not sure yet. I wouldn't mind being 3 in the morning, so it's probably what time it's going to be. I'll have enough adrenaline to get me there and not be tired in the first place. So. But up to Illinois we go. Good old 9-hour drive from Texas to Illinois to Centralia, Illinois, where my old man is, and maybe get out, get there, and relax a little bit, play a little golf maybe, and get ready to get everything loaded up to go to Indy. Looks like that's probably where we're going to be. The weather is looking like a little bit of rain around the area. Definitely, probably going to be some rain there at Indy on Sunday. But let's just hope that all just clears off pretty quick. Indy's got top-notch equipment anyway, so I'm sure they could dry a track pretty quick. And we'll get the OS 10 out and load her up and take some videos and some pictures and some postable material for the Go on Bracket Racing YouTube channel and let you guys see what I got going on and hopefully that all goes good. It's going to be a debut. We found a little bit of a leak in the carb yesterday, and took it back to the good man at my man Ken Jones over at Ken Jones Performance, and probably one of the best to do it in the carburetor field. I'm sure as most of you would probably vouch if you don't already know, and if you don't know, well now you know. So Ken Jones, head over there, check him out if you guys need carburetor work. He's the best of the best. I can promise you that. I've known about Ken Jones as well as you, Casey, probably since I was 4, 5, 6 years old, something like that. And I mean, we've been running their products forever. So that's what I got going on. We just put some carpet in there. You know, we started the truck up yesterday. It's getting a lot of fumes in my old man's face, he said. So he wanted to try to mitigate as much fumes as possible by putting some carpet in there. So that always works. I guess. So, now what about you, man? You had an interesting week of racing this week, didn't you? Past week?
That I did, and thanks Team 14. We got them up in here. Little Nasty's in here. Alan's in here. Hopefully, Little Nasty's bringing me back a drum of alcohol. I need that one of these days anyway. Gave him a couple cores today. We're gonna see what happens with those. But yeah, man, the old Malibu, it was standing straight up, to say the least. There was a picture I saw that it was about halfway up, and there was one time this weekend we had a real good headwind. Well, it was almost a headwind. I'm glad it wasn't a headwind, but it was more of like a 45-degree angle right up the track. And second time run, I didn't think it was coming down. It clicked the 60-foot timers with the back tires. So, I mean, it was one of those deals where all I could see was hood, and I was kind of looking to the sides, and I'm like, man, I just hope I'm going straight. But everything all worked out, and it was pretty wild, to say the least. You can definitely see why those boys get all amped up about doing those big wheelies in stock and super stock. It's definitely a good time, that's for sure. It gets your adrenaline going and makes racing exciting again. But George, tell me this, man. When I moved to North Carolina, this was the first time I legitimately owned my own stuff, and it was all mine. And no matter what it was all mine. How does it feel to have your own stuff finally? Do you feel like now you've made it and you're a racer now? You're not a hired gun anymore. You're your own.
Yeah, well, maybe you should ask next stream as well, because I'm pretty sure it might sink in a little bit more in between now and towing the car back for 9 or 10 hours that it's going to take to get back from hopefully not having to kick my wife's car out of the garage, which may or may not
Well,
be the death of the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, babe, I love you. Yeah, okay. But definitely ask me. I think it's going to be good. I've been waiting on this moment. Everybody knows if they've been following the YouTube channel. If you hadn't, certainly head over there, hit the subscribe button. We could use all the help we could get from you guys, and thank you for your continued support. But early on, Casey and I have mentioned multiple times of what it's going to be like to own our own, or my own vehicle, I should say. And now that the time is here, it's still a little bit surreal. I've been waiting on this moment. I've been sitting on this truck for 6-7 years, I could say. I've been waiting on this old truck to come up, and just something about it, man. I had to have this one truck. I talked to a good friend of ours today on the phone, and he said, "You got a race car, I heard." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, did you get the truck you were waiting on?" And I said, "Yeah." That kind of felt good because I've been, I was after something and it finally came to fruition. So, for those of us out there who got a plan.
There went the internet again, evidently.
Your internet out?
There we go.
You in?
There we go. I see you now.
I
see you now.
Well, hey, you know how it goes, guys. Technical issues are dime a dozen the way it seems. So, but anyway, long story short, I'm very stoked to be a car owner, and it'll set in over the weeks. You guys will be able to walk that journey with me. I have my GoPro. I have a couple cameras. I'm ready to. I may give some onboard camera. Just don't laugh at my mistakes, and if you got some pointers, feel free and point them out. I'm only a rookie, I'm only a rookie. So, nah, man. I'm ready to go, Casey. I don't know, man. I'm ready to go. We got a lot of comments coming in here already, though. And one I'm going to pick on right off the bat, Mr. Dylan, the champ. Mr. Champion says, must be nice to have gas for your rig. Well, I've got gas, Dylan. I don't know if Casey's got too much gas over there, but I've got some gas.
My wife actually works with a girl that her husband is, I don't know if he's a county officer or a state officer, but he said that they're actually figuring tonight there will be no gas in the state of North Carolina. So if anybody can get their hands on it and you live out this way in the southeast, then go ahead and get it right now. I sure am glad that I filled up my lawnmowers last weekend because that means obviously it's in the tank and I got enough on the side. And there's diesel fuel everywhere, though. So luckily I got one of those alternative fuel vehicles and not a big deal.
Sure.
But yeah, man, as far as everything else goes, might have to be driving these bad boys up to the grocery store or something.
Yeah, just watch out for old coppers there so you don't get in too much trouble. I know those things aren't street legal.
I know they wouldn't be able to catch me for at least 1/8 of a mile.
Yeah, when you run out of fuel. You gave me a run there until you run out of fuel. No, but what's going on? Kevin Always Little and Ryan Glegorn's in here. Beards are on point. Hey, man, we appreciate that. I work hard for this thing, Ryan. And I think I got nudged on the shoulder yesterday, and my wife asked me, she said, are you going to cut off your beard after Casey's wedding? I didn't quite have the answer to that question. I don't think I'm going to cut it off, but...
That's because there isn't an answer. It's always just a no. It's not even a no, it's a look. It's a...
Yeah, right.
One of them.
Yep, one of those. Race car revolutions in the house. That's Chris Cade. Man, dude, West Washington's in the house. Welcome, everybody. Kenny, props. Jerry's in the house. Jimmy Nobles, what's going on, sir? We got Lorenzo over here. Thank you for everything, Lorenzo. Sharing it to your page and everything. And Robbie Saunders. I want to talk about bringing the 3-step back into burnouts. Hey, we need to talk about that. We'll have you live on the show, Robbie. I'm pretty sure we can post maybe a video or two of yours with the burnout competition videos, because Vladimir is the champion of burnout competitions. If you ask me, that bad, he bangs the hot shit better than anything I ever heard. So.
I don't participate in those burnout competitions, but I participate from the sidelines, and I'll egg you on. That's for sure.
Right, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It'll be something fun to do, but definitely 3-step back into burnouts. No, man.
So here's the thing, George. With you getting the S10, and now the internet has crapped out on me again here real quick. But if you can hear me, with you getting the S10, have you considered bottom bulbing that at all? Have you considered potentially taking your box out, using a trailer plug, something like that, and just being able to have the ability to race either one class or the other, or even both in the same race if you wanted to?
Definitely have pondered it more and more, considering kind of what we've been doing with the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. A lot of feedback that we've been getting from a lot of the fans of the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. And hopefully, can you hear me again? I know you said your internet's going out, but each time that it happens, I can hear you just fine, sir. You good? Can you hear me? He's nodding. He's nodding. Casey? All right, we got a disconnect going on, everybody. Hang on in there with us, and we'll get him brought back in here in just a moment. I'm pretty sure, but I think it's on his end this time. As I think you guys can still hear me. If you can hear me, certainly just leave a message in the chat there. But we'll get old Casey back here in just a moment and continue going. But to answer his question, and I'll answer it again likely when he gets back on here. But I am considering some type of a disconnect or a fast take out the box type of deal there. So we'll talk more in just a moment. I'm gonna have to switch screens. It won't take me very long at all. Thanks Cliff Hall for letting me know you can hear me. Just bear with me one good second there. You guys are gonna get a "Be Right Back" sticker here for just a moment. Bear with me. All right. Thank you for bearing with me for that quick moment there. I'm going to talk a little bit of trash now, and we're going to have Casey, or let's just start a Going Bracket Racing fund that says, Casey, get a faster internet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know you're out there in the middle of nowhere, and that's probably what's going on for the most part. So you asked me a question, and I can kind of pick us back up where we left off there, but you asked me a question about had I considered putting in, a delay box that's easily removed,
Right.
maybe on some type of a bracket, something that BRG Motorsports makes, something like that. If you hadn't seen that bracket that BRG Motorsports has, is in the community section of the Going Bracket Racing YouTube Facebook page, and you can look at that, the video, kind of the pictures of what that thing looks like. But I have considered it. Is it gonna happen? That's going to be all depending upon how I let go off the top, if I have to be honest. So, yes and no. Am I scared to let go of the bottom? No, because that's how I started. You guys know, I've waited for a while to own my own car, but that didn't stop me from, the Cavalier, the four-banger that I owned. I raced that son of a gun, and then I had a 95 Ford Taurus. Well, I raced it too, and guess what? I foot braked them both times. So I'm definitely not going to be scared to let go off the bottom. I know that I can probably compete doing so. And so it kind of would be nice to have a car like the S10 that's set up well enough for me to be able to strip the box out with a trailer disconnect like you mentioned, and go no box and put it back in to go top bulb racing. So definitely something I'm considering.
Well, and here's the reason I was asking that, because slide up that flyer if you got it for that bottom bulb bash up in Beacon Dragway in Paducah, Kentucky, man. Because my thing is just bottom bulb racing is so much more affordable. And you said Gleghorn's in here too, right?
Yeah, he was in here.
Gleghorn, everybody, you need to go over and check out his page, because he's got something going on with this deal right now that could get you in relatively cheap. But dude, the thing is just, this bottom bulb racing is so much more affordable than the top bulb racing these days. I mean, you're talking $250 if you pre-enter this race. And I read the fine print on that, George. And if you pre-enter and then you show up there and you decide that you want to have a second entry, well, because you pre-entered, he'll give you your second entry at that $250 price also. Wow. But guess what? Even if you don't want to pre-enter, $300 to run a 5, 10, and a 5, and it starts paying round money at third round. It's $50 a day in the 5s, and it's $75 a day after winning third round. It just graduates and keeps on going up after a third round win. They're having a 32-car shootout Saturday morning for the WFC Triple 15s. And then they're even like, it's not like a lot of these shootout races where the winner takes all. They're still paying runner-up money and semi-money, I'm pretty sure, and maybe even down to eights. But they're having gamblers races Thursday and Friday, June 17th through the 20th, man, at Beacon Dragway in Paducah, Kentucky. If anybody has the opportunity, definitely head over there, because that's just, I mean, George, you're talking, if you can pull a Nick Hastings and sweep the whole event, $20,000 for $250. Can you beat that?
I don't think you can. I don't think anywhere you go, you're not going to find a race for this type of an entry, paying back round money, doing all the things that they're doing over here at Beacon. Certainly, like I said on the previous stream here, you can look at this flyer and really be able to tell that whomever is behind this race put their mind, or minds plural, into this race. Something about a race for a barrel of fuel. Man, hey, all of us run fuel. Methanol, whatever type of racing fuel you run. You know, pick your poison, basically. But that's well thought out to have a race like that, to where you're running for a barrel of fuel. So I'm gonna slide us back in, Casey, here real quick, and we can continue talking. But that makes it all the more enticing for me to have a box that is able to be removed or put back in. This is a no box race altogether, right? You can't have a box to run this event. Well, I don't want to be known as the only car there that I have a box in my car, and I'm still trying to run this no box event. I don't want to have to go through that. So absolutely, it would be excellent. And I definitely want to hear from you guys out there in Facebook and YouTube world, on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. What do you guys think about that? The quick disconnects in the kind of the delay box on a string, for lack of better terms, that you can just pull out when you're ready. So definitely something I'm definitely interested in.
It looks to me over here like Steven Shepard's saying that he says 5x5 here, which I'm assuming he's talking about a trailer plug here. Which is what I have on my box. I have 2 Zeus buttons on the box on this car behind me. This car, I can't take the box out of it real quick, but that'll be changing this winter. But the reason I've been thinking about this, and the reason I put that question up on Facebook of who regularly pulls their box out to run top and bottom, and I should have worded it better, but what I meant was top and bottom at the same event. So like on your normal weekly bracket races, if you have a door car, my theory is you like in this case, I disconnect it, take the 2 Zeus buttons out, put it in my truck, go run bottom bulb, then come back, put it back in, go run top bulb. Now, all of us know if you can hit the bottom like Nick Hastings, then you got one less thing to do. You just run foot brake the whole time.
Leave it on.
But most of us aren't like that.
True.
But
True.
But yeah, man, that's what really got me thinking about it, because in my case, at my normal weekly event, I could double enter bottom bulb and run top bulb and buy back all of my entries for cheaper than if I just double entered top bulb, and that's it. And effectively, I'm then running 3 races at one race, theoretically getting triple the seat time. Well, not necessarily triple, because if we could say I doubled, which I can't double every single time because I don't have that kind of wallet,
Right.
But hypothetically, you would be running at least one more race, and you're just spending significantly less money to be able to do that. And more than anything, I just wanted to know, is that a feasible thing? Like, say you get to 3rd or 4th round in both of them, and you're trying to rip the box out and just hurry up. Like, is there a downside to that? Do you really care? I mean, any track, realistically, as long as you're not just messing around, then of course they're gonna wait on you at least a reasonable amount. You know?
Absolutely. They're not going to burn your car down, number one. They're going to give you at least enough time to get your stuff cool. And if you're cool in your car, that's perfect time for you to be able to pull the delay box out of your car at the same time. So On the Facebook side here, we got Kevin White Little, who says he's run bottom bulb quite a bit, so if he were to do this, it would be him on the bottom and Kendall Little on the top. That makes total sense. You're sharing your car. One of you are more comfortable to take the light off the bottom. The other's more comfortable off the top. That's a perfect reason and a perfect scenario to have a fast disconnect or some type of a removable delay box. Cody Newman out of there, my friend over in Canada, our friend over in Canada, he says he just started top bulb racing. He says, but he wouldn't mind being able to remove his box to run some bottom bulb classes as well. And total sense being made here. We're gonna look at one more flyer here in just a little bit, but seemingly every race that's going on right now has a seriously good bonus to the no box racers. And if for not that reason alone, that is another good push to get a fast disconnect box. What do you think, Casey?
No, I totally agree. And like you said, with the bonus funds being paid out to the no boxers, and the simple fact, if nothing else, if you're one of those guys that thinks dragsters have a magnificent advantage, basically, there's no better way to get away from the dragsters than running a no box class, because most no box classes will not allow dragsters or altereds. They'll allow left-hand steer roadsters, but that's not the same. I mean, you've driven them, George. It's close, but it's not the same. They're still at least somewhat affected by the wind.
Well, you got to remember, I've driven a left-hand steer roadster, but I've never driven a dragster. So it's kind of hard for me to be able to give a perfect comparison. But if driving a dragster is anything like driving a left-hand steer, which I would have to imagine is probably similar, if not just slightly better, I can understand how that weapon would be one to stay away from, especially as a slower no box or a box car, or a slower dragster. Even at that, doesn't matter. It's just the weapon is all it is to it. Got another comment over here from Champ. He says, "I feel like there is too much going on to be ripping out a box in and out in the later rounds, especially. Maybe it's just him." I said this once on stream, Champ. I'd like to be the one to find out. Okay, let me be left over in top and in no box in the later rounds of an SFG race, and I promise you, it ain't gonna be a problem for me. I'll rip that joker out there as fast as I can, and just at that point, I'm gonna be wired enough, I think, two entries down into the later rounds of something big like that, and man, you're gonna have to try real hard to knock me off my box.
And the good thing is that if you ever do get in that scenario and you do think it's too much, there's nothing wrong with rolling up there without it in there. And because the other day, whenever I think Shane Carr beat Jeff Serra in the final the other day, the best light I think was a 23. Foot breakers can do that easy. They can do better than that easy. You know. And
I think you're right too, Casey, because by that point, if we feel the pressure coming, heck, we're down deep into the cars without a box anyway. So you might as well leave that joker out of there and just go ahead and race. Or at the same time, we all have help at the racetrack. Most of us have some form of help. And at the same time, in the latter rounds, you're going to have help even if you don't want it, because people are still there at the track. Number one, are probably in the cooler right next to you. Wherever you're parked, there's going to be some people over there. It might be barbecuing, and they're going to see you're still in. Man, you're still in the race? Yep, I'm in box and no box. What are you doing, buddy? I don't know. It's just one of them days. Need some help?
Yeah, man. Go pack my wallet up.
Right. I tell you what, I give you I give you $300 if I win, just to take the box in and out of this joker, so that I can have one less thing to think about. You see what I mean? It kind of just made it. Shoot, that just made it like that ain't nothing. Then all you got to do is get in the car. Shoot, just make sure you don't take it out while you're getting ready to run top, and forget to put it back in or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
He says
exactly, man.
Cody Newman says, "Yep, I average about 30 on foot brake with my last car." And that's hey man, you're gonna win some races with some 30 lights. That's all I got for you.
Well, the important thing is just to get that average consistent, and then you could do things like change your tire diameter on the front if you need to speed it up. If you need to slow it down, then you can either let some air out of your tires, you can put a bigger tire on it. I mean, the important thing is getting consistent. Once you get consistent, you can work with that. It's just like the delay box. Once you get consistent, if you're hitting at 30 consistently, you need to take at least 20 out, and then you're good. No big deal.
That's true. That's true. And piggybacking back off, we were talking about dragsters here. Kevin Oy Little chimes in and says, "I love running dragsters." He said, "I put some of them on the trailer this past weekend in Houston." Kevin, you're gonna have to give me a call. Let me know how that went. If not today or tomorrow, then Thursday, because I'll be doing a heck of a lot of driving. I might need somebody to talk to talk to anyway. So
I'll tell you what, man. As a back half door car driver, nothing feels better than taking out 440 dragsters. Just because I don't necessarily think if you're a good driver and you have a good car, you're not at a disadvantage like everyone thinks. The only time you're really at a disadvantage, is if the wind is blowing super hard. And even if it's blowing super hard, if it's doing that consistently all day, it's not that big of a deal. But whenever it's when it's gusting and it's gusting like 15, 20 mile an hour and then it's dead, now the dragster has a significant advantage. But either way, nothing feels better, and there will not be more people cheering in your pit area than a 650 door car taking out a 440 like blower dragster or something like that. Everybody loves that. Even dragster drivers like that.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
I wish Loose Change was in here. I'd ask him what are the odds that somebody's going to take a big bet on a door car over a fast dragster in the stands. Especially if he's not the one driving. Everybody knows Loose Change might be the slow door car or the slower door car in the other lane against that dragster because he's a hell of a racer himself. So, but I wish he was in here to give us a little context.
Well, we need to get back a hold of Loose Change because I talked to him the other day and I told him, I said, "Hey, do you want to be on the show, or would he be willing to be on the show?" And he said, "Yeah." And then honestly, I forgot about it. So I'll get a hold of him later on this week and see if maybe we can't get him on maybe next week or the week after. He might be racing somewhere these next couple weeks. But you see Loose Change, he on that in-car video, his backup button has the slow-moving vehicle sound. It has the backup beep.
No, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. So let's slide in another flyer real quick. And again, this is just another flyer showing the love and appreciation that promoters have for no box drivers. I'm gonna pull up the Havana flyer if you still got it, Casey. But here's yet another race that, yes, there isn't the largest award to no boxers, but $1,000 on top is still, I'm telling you, that's still something that is great for the no box class. People see things like this and they're like, "Oh, I'm going," or like what we're doing right now on Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Do I need to put a fast disconnect in my car so that I can run this event and compete in box and no box? What do I need to do here?
In my opinion, if you have a door car, just let's say the average door car, the average chassis door car, in my opinion, tube chassis, full chassis door car, probably is around 540s, 550s, typically. Your everyday guy. Your average otherwise door car, between 6 flat and 650. If you're anywhere in that range, I just don't understand why you at least wouldn't have the ability to quickly take your box out. Just because of the fact that every once in a while there's a good deal that comes along where not necessarily, like in this scenario, I wouldn't run no box at this particular race. I would run top. I'm more talking about a scenario where either it's a weekend race basis where you want to run top and mod, which would be Super Pro and Pro, in the same weekend, or you want to quickly rip it out while it's sitting in the trailer and go run no box only race this week, like big no box only race. They have them a lot of times at Piedmont and stuff like that, loose rocker stuff.
Right. So I don't know, but I have a feeling, and very soon here on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, we're going to bring on BRG Motorsports. He's doing some real good work. Casey, you know much more about the type of work that he does than I do, but he's definitely doing some good work making brackets and things of kind of CNC'd, I think is what you're saying they are, Casey, but I'm not 100% of the word there. But
I think they're 3D printed, but they're CAD designs, and basically the point is that if you can think of it, he can make it. And that's the idea. So I know there's a lot of, with race cars, anything to do with race cars, is a lot of it is custom, because these cars were not made to do what we do with them. But whenever you have the ability to do anything on CAD, and then you have the ability to either CNC that or laser or 3D printed or whatever the case may be, get your design out of your mind onto the computer and into your hands. I mean, you can make anything. It's possibilities are endless.
Definitely, and definitely going to have him on the show here pretty soon. And maybe again, if you're looking for a delay box mount, he's got one on the Going Bracket Racing Facebook page. In the community section, you can see what it looks like. It looks pretty good to me. You can tell it's definitely got the pins in the back of it to where you can pull that bad boy off of whatever you've mounted it to fairly quick. So one question I've got, Casey, that you might know the answer to simply because you have one. This is kind of the technical mind that I have here, but how easy is it to pull that delay box out of your car and the memory of the delay box remember where your delay was the round before?
It doesn't affect it. I don't know why it doesn't affect it, but
it's got a memory.
I had it out. Yeah, I took it out the other day to go run at Nahana down the street from me, Wayne County. People might know it as that. Dylan Champion, he lives around there, I think. But anyways, I went down there and I had that box out of that car for a week. And so it definitely wasn't holding on to any charge or anything like that. But I had it out for a week and it was actually sitting in my closet in the house because I was so scared. It's a Mega 450. They're expensive. I was scared that something would happen to it, like it'd get knocked off or something stupid would happen. And I plugged it right back in and everything was exactly as it said. So I guess you know about computers. I guess it's a scenario just like if your laptop dies, does it forget what's in there? No, it's saved on the hard drive. So I guess that's similar to how that works maybe.
Yep, it's got a memory is the best way you can put it. It's got some sort of a recall on it to where even if you powered it down, it could remember what it did last. Which, the only reason I asked it is because that just adds another barrier if someone were to use a fast disconnect where you're taking a trailer wire to connect and pulling it apart. Now you've taken the constant or the power away from that box. And I guess it only makes sense simply because when we hit the power button in our race cars and pull the power back on, it's not like there's power going to it. So but that box, so there's just the memory facet to each delay box that I can think of. I don't know one that doesn't work that way in my years of being around race cars. Certainly, if you can think of one, let us know, and we'll kind of steer anybody who's trying to have a delay box that is quickly removed from the car. We'll try to steer them away from that particular delay box brand. Unfortunately, though, I don't think you're going to find one that doesn't have a memory, which is great, honestly. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the number one thing. Now that I think about it, anytime we've ever bought a used car, we very rarely ever buy cars with motors in them. And the number one thing is you always get the car home and you're like, well, put the battery in there and turn on the box, see if he was lying to us about how fast this was going. Because it's always that's the thing about top bulb racers is they have the box in the car and you can always look and check what they said and be like, hey man, you said this car was going 580s with your motor in there. And now all of a sudden it says, 650 in here. What's going on here? Because this thing might weigh a little bit more than you told me.
Well, you definitely aren't slowing. You ain't slowing it down that much from 580s to 650s. Yeah. You gotta have to do something drastic to slow that bad boy down that much.
That's right.
So that's definitely something good to keep in mind when you're going out around shopping, guys. If there's a delay box in the car, well, there's some telltales right there. What was the last dial-in that the car had on it? So certainly a good way to keep people on their toes. But yeah, man, I don't know though. We can continue on and on about no box, and because again, it's something that Wesley Washington's in here. I know he throws a few races. Wesley, if you're hearing me, give me those flyers on some upcoming races you've got coming up here, and I'll be sure and put them on here as well. But Wesley, what are you seeing as far as for turnout and things like that for the no box class? Because everybody is seemingly targeting no box pretty strong.
Well,
and maybe it's just,
the reason, Well, think of this, George. The average no box car is definitely I would say most times half the value of getting into the same level of top bulb racing. Like as far as big races go, the races are typically, they're at least equivalent price. A lot of times they're a little bit cheaper. But the thing is, like I said, I think there's a lot of guys that are scared of running dragsters and indoor cars. They think they're at a significant disadvantage. Well, that doesn't happen. And here's the thing. Your moderately fast top bulb car, I would say somewhere around the 590 or 60 range, I would venture to say probably 85% of the time, if you're no boxing that same car, whereas in top bulb, a lot of times you would be, unless they're running door car versus door car, because out here, that's kind of a fast door car unless you're running a chassis car. But if you take that 6.0 average speed car and you go run no box, then you're typically fast car, I bet 85% of the time, or at least equivalent. Like maybe a guy will be down a little faster than you and a little slower than you. But I would say you're definitely, unless you're running Kevin Pollard, you're not having anyone run up on you like a dragster. That's for sure.
True. And then Kevin Pollard, of course, going back to the price of a no box car, probably on the top end of price. That old Love truck is, boy, I love how that thing launches. And you used to let that old smoke come out.
That purple Camaro,
that one
it's
too.
fast too.
Wow. Fast disconnect. Certainly something to think about, though, in my opinion. So I'm making a poll right now, putting a poll out there and seeing who will answer the question.
Yep, we got Monday Morning Racer just came in here, guys. If you want to hear anything about NHRA, that's your man right there. He talks about all the stuff with NHRA. In fact, his video he did in his, I think it was his early days, is before he got the sunglasses going even. But the one about how can NHRA fix pro stock, man, that's a really good video actually. I agree with him 100%. Get rid of the Camaro show. And I said that the other day on WFO. I was like, can we get rid of the Camaro show? And they're like, we've done that, man. We have 2 Mustangs now. I'm like, oh, good for you. We have 2 other cars. Great. Like, great. I'm talking more about bringing back things that look normal and having Camaros, Mustangs, Dodges. Come
Stratuses.
on.
Let's get some cars back out. Hey, let's make a pro stock CTSV for crying out loud.
Right.
If somebody wants to make it now. Granted, I don't know the weight ratio in between the 2 cars, but this is 2020 freaking 1. Pretty sure we can figure out how to make a CTSV the same weight as a Camaro. I'm pretty sure it can be done. There's
Larry
no way.
Larson could do it.
Exactly.
Larry Larson could do it, that's for sure. We got Steve Shepard in here saying the biggest foot brake race is WFC at Bristol. Last year they had 547 entries for a foot brake race on Friday. So,
Jeez.
I mean, and the thing is, too, is that the good part about foot brake races is, and he says right there, steel body cars, is just what I was getting ready to say. Door cars take up less space. You can stack them in. Everybody can park behind their trailers, so you can have a smaller track, and as long as you have 200 spots, you can fit 200 cars. Whenever you have dragsters, they all have to pit beside the trailer, so you're cutting it in half right there.
True. Very true. Kevinoid says he likes driving no box. He says because Black Panther, it's gonna be a fast no boxer. It's gonna run 560s, and that's definitely spot on. So you're definitely gonna have somewhat of an advantage in front. Yeah, from everything being out in front of you. Nikki, Roy Stewart, hey there, Hot Rod. Hey, what's up?
Roy, that's where this came from. Roy, this was his Malibu. He built this car.
Gotcha. So he's Malibu. I see. Well, welcome in, Nick.
Yep.
Nicky.
He was doing big wheelies in it too. Whenever I got it from him, he was showing me pictures of it I think it was at Super Chevy or something. I can't remember. Or maybe King of the Coast, but he'd have been proud of it this weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah. Setting off the 60-foot timer with the back wheel, Casey. Woo, buddy.
Listen to this, George. This is probably the best YouTube name I've ever heard. Proud to be a bracket racer. Says,
I like it.
Yep. Says I don't think foot brake races. I don't think foot brake races should be allowed to use any kind of a button. We've had conversations on that in the past, and we agree with you 100%. Because I can tell you right now, me as a top bulb racer, I can tell you right now, I have a jumper in there where I can still use my trans brake because it's got a pro brake in it, so I need the trans brake to back up to engage reverse. But if I could run no box with a button, I could hit that just as easy as I could hit the top because all I got to do is put a blinder on and the rest of the tree doesn't affect me.
It's true. It's true. I do think that no box and trans brake buttons should be separate. I do. I think that, and would like to see it come down to eventually foot brake is the name of the other class. Not no box.
Right.
Foot brake. Take
Right.
the box is not in the car, but you don't get a trans brake button too. You're bringing it, fast fetcher. You're bringing that old hot rod up 3,000 RPM on the old FTI. I can't do it like he did.
Yep.
But dang it, let's hear the converter get wound up. Let's see you let go on with the foot. So
I just think that if you're going to use a button, there's a class for that. It's called Top ET or Super Pro.
I like it.
I mean, like I said, it benefits me if I could use my button. And I'm saying that you shouldn't allow that because I could do that just as easy as I could top bulb. Now,
Same.
The good part is in the Southeast, they very rarely allow you to use a button. If you're running no box, it means no nothing.
So instead of it being the fast disconnect delay box, we might need both. We might need a fast disconnect delay box as well as a fast disconnect trans brake button because there ain't no way we can't do it. There's no way.
Well, you can't have that with a pro brake. You have to have a bracket brake because you need it for reverse.
Yep.
But I mean, any moron's going to know if you're on the two-step.
True.
You know, like I mean, because you're talking run or you're talking, you know, like machine gun. That's anybody's going to know that. The starter, that could be his job. He'll know.
Danny Amos Jr. says, when I was in the Northeast, I had the same transmission. They gave me a little bit of trouble because my button for reverse is on the steering wheel. I had to show him that is for reverse only. I see. So maybe he had a buddy that had a pro brake on his car, and had to show him how to reverse that. But you don't just put it in the R and just push the gas. That might not work.
Yeah. Everybody's worried about those, man. I mean, I think there's so many ways to cheat that, and people have obviously done it or people wouldn't bring it up, but it's like, I think the racers would police themselves, and there's several tracks out here that there's a lot of guys that know. I mean, I would say 90% of people at the racetrack know exactly what's going on and who's doing what. And if they catch you cheating, the track staff is going to be the least of your worries. Getting the check is going to be the least of your worries.
Yeah, buddy. Get out of there and get home might be a problem, though. Get out of there and get home. That might be a problem. Not eliciting anything here, guys, but you have been to the racetrack enough and seen enough to know that someone gets caught doing something they shouldn't be doing. Well, there's going to be a few angry, already in the cooler drag racers. So now you're really in trouble because you ain't had nothing. But Cody Newman says up there at an airport that they race at, they have a class called Semi-Pro, and it's completely no box foot brake. So definitely, again, something that is something that's getting a lot of attention, and I think is going to continue to do so. But again, at these big races, I'm really looking. I want to see more of a no box foot brake being the team that's looked up on foot brake.
Right, exactly. And here's my other theory, man, is that if you can run no box, if you can have a quick disconnect box, and this was like I said, the reason I was thinking about it. I'm looking for any kind of advantages you can have to having the door cars like we have, like a lot of people probably have that watch this show. And one thing that you can't deny is if they're running Top ET and modified or Pro and Super Pro for NHRA guys, if you're running those both at the same event, then they're obviously going to run one, then they're going to run the next one. So obviously your car my car at least doesn't run exactly the same off the trans brake as it does off the foot brake, but it's very close. And obviously there's a correlation. So if it slows down off the foot brake, it's obviously going to slow down off the trans brake. My point being is that if you go up for first round of top ET and you break out, now you have an advantage over the rest of the mod guys, because now you're going up with mod and they haven't made their run yet. And maybe they're going to break out and you're like, I'm dialing down a little bit, because 30 minutes ago I just got a pass and I broke out by 2 or something. So then you're going to dial down 2 on the other one. Now you run dead on.
Yep, that's true, and that's kind of the advantage of having kind of both. Be able to run top, be able to run trans brake on the bottom, whatever. Seemingly, you're getting 2 shots at the track. If your car's going to repeat the number, you are going to be up on a 2-step just like you would if you were coming off the top. So you're not really losing much data just because you're leaving on the bottom. You know what I mean? With the trans brake.
And this is something I just thought of. You know how whenever you're playing baseball, you have the donuts on the baseball bat, you swing the baseball bat, and then you swing it real hard once you let it off?
Yep.
So do you think there would be any kind of correlation to that when you're running top ET, if you're having people run up on you real quick and everything's happening real fast, and then you go run mod and everything's kind of consistent with each other and it's like passing somebody on the interstate?
I think it'd be like riding a bike, because that's how it is when you swing that donut on that bat. You've made the bat heavier so you can get your arms loosened is what it is. So all that is preparation. With anything else, you're going to have an ample amount of preparation or seat time, which we love to coach here at Going Bracket Racing. Seat time, enough to know, all right, this is top, everything going to be a little bit faster. Well, this is bottom, and my car runs like Kevin Oid's Black Panther 560s. Well, everything's only going to be fast for them. You know what I mean? It's only going to be fast for them. I'm still going to be running my normal speed, but I'm going to be coming onto a car that's a little bit slower. So,
right.
I think with anything, it's just going to be seat time. That's just my generic answer, I guess, because I know that's going to be the right answer, seat time.
Right. And I would say the overall point of this conversation is just, more than anything, if you're already at the track, we know how much it costs to get to the track. It costs a decent amount of money. My truck only gets like 11 miles to the gallon pulling my trailer to the track. You're pulling this big old sail, and it's not aerodynamic, But if you're already there, it gives you one more opportunity to have another race. So you can effectively increase your races. If you're doing this every single time you go, you can obviously increase your races by a factor of 2 without going to the track that much more. So if you're in an area where they only race once a month, or, hopefully not less than that, but if you are in an area that only races once a month, now, rather than running, say, 8 to 10 races a year, if you're lucky, now you can run, around 16, 20, and it just gives you that many more opportunities to do what we want to do for a minimal extra investment, because you already have the car. Yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more in fuel and a little bit more in entry fee, but it's going to be half of what you already spent in top, almost always, or definitely less. Maybe not half, but definitely less.
Correct.
But you're already there. What do you think?
Yep. Nope. It's foolproof. That's just more seat time, to where I don't care how you're letting go of the button. At the finish line, you still have to make the right decision. At the finish line, you still have to know where you are on the track before you make said decision. Or at the finish line, you have to figure out in your mind if you're going too fast or too slow, and try to get behind or stay in front, or try to kill a little bit of time while staying in front. Regardless, you've got seat time. Regardless, leaving off the bottom, leaving off the top, you're practicing at least one facet. From there, you essentially have the ability to pick, okay, I'm better leaving off the top or I'm better leaving off the bottom. Which one do I want to do the most, or which one do I want to make my go-to method of the starting line game that we all play? So, again, all you're doing, if you're adding the ability to sit in the car for another round and then win that round to gain more confidence, and then win that round, gain more confidence, and gain more knowledge, you're only going to get better at drag racing as a whole. So that is what the moral of the story is. The more you do it, better you're gonna get. I don't care if you're leaving off the bottom. I don't care if you're leaving off the top. That's what I think.
Right. And how did Nick Hastings get that good? It didn't just he wasn't born with it. Everybody can say, "Oh man, this guy's born with this guy's born with that." Yeah, the guy obviously he clearly has talent, but the guy more than anything, he probably has more seat time than anyone that races, including Hunter Patton, including Corey Galletti, including Johnny Ezel. That dude runs everything that he can possibly have. I thought I heard on a podcast the other day that dude puts 1,000 runs on his bottom end and then takes it apart. And guess what? For Nick Hastings, he might do that in a year, maybe two.
I'd say quite easily, Casey. Easily, he's putting 1,000 on him. We got a question in the chat here, or should I say a comment? Is Danny Amos Sr. says, the only problem I have with foot brake is I have to race cars that are running 13 to 14 seconds in the eighth. I like those type of cars. I grew up with those type of cars, but we used to have a class called Trophy for a reason. The reason being, that's a little too slow. Okay, I'm gonna run in probably the high 590s, low 590s, somewhere in that range. You're gonna run in the low 590s, high 590s with your Malibu. To race someone 13 seconds is not. I'm not gonna say it's not fair, but that's not an even race in my opinion. In these particular races, there should be a ET break. Especially in the larger ones. So if you're running 13 and 14 second cars, it's got to be a class that allows for no break. I don't know if that exists much more nowadays, except for maybe some of the places that you have encountered, Danny. But man, I can remember trying to run my Cavalier in a big race and being told that I couldn't because my dial-in was like 11 seconds or 12 seconds or something like that. So a lot of these places have cutoffs.
Yeah, I would say that you definitely need to. I would say you could probably say that the ET break for a foot brake only class, you could probably make it 950. Realistically, 849 would be better, but to get a couple more people in there, about 950. And even at any rate, it's just like anything else. There's only so many 420 dragsters out there, and there's only so many 1350 door cars out there. So, yes, that guy, if nothing else, he's making you sit there and burn the converter, which is hard on stuff anyway. But at the same time, there's a very small percentage you're going to actually end up running that guy.
Got a couple of comments here. A couple of good ones, actually. Jeremy McKay, I see you out there. It's probably the first time I've seen that name in this stream there. Old Jeremy McKay. We grew up with him over at Gateway.
Talk about that guy will do both.
Both,
he'll run top and bottom and everything.
Wesley Washington says, those types of cars taught me how to drive the stripe. So, I'd have to guess that he's talking about being way faster than a 13-second car and pulling up on him and driving the stripe after the fact, which essentially should look similar to being a 440 dragster and pulling up on a 7-second.
It does.
Essentially, you would think, I know it's faster in the 440 dragster, but that's a good point. I do like that point. I like that point.
Rate of closure is the same. It doesn't matter. 40 mile an hour on you is 40 mile an hour on you. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I like that comment. I like that. I don't know how often I want to do it as far as for running against somebody who's 6 seconds slower than me. But I kind of see your point at how that would make it give you the look that you're looking for as the faster car by a long shot pulling up on somebody. Hold on. He says, no, I started racing in a 10-second pickup truck. So he he was a slow car and said he learned to do it. Okay, vice versa. Yep, nope. I can agree with that because I've been there. I've been in that situation, running a 4-banger Cavalier where I'm the slowest car. Jason Phillips pulls up next to me in that Mustang in the 8th, and he's spraying nitrous at me, and I'm 00 something and lose because I'm way out in front of you and he sprays around me. Yeah, stuff like that, but I get that now, Wesley. He's the slower car. Now, that's pretty interesting. Jeremy McKay says, ET brakes go against the reason bracket racing was invented.
That's true.
It's true, but I agree to disagree. I do. Sorry. there's a safety mechanism to this whole thing too. So you got to have some type of ET brake. You can't just put a 12-second car out there with a car that runs 5 flat. Okay? Yeah, you can, but safety-wise, is that the wisest thing to do? Maybe not. I don't know. Well, you got a thought on that?
I don't know. After he said that, and then Alan said the same thing. Everyone needs a chance to race. Doesn't matter how slow. That's why bracket racing started. Almost exactly what Jeremy said. And yeah, I mean, realistically, that's true. And I mean, at the end of the day, I have no problem showing up and saying, let's all race, because all I care about is that the track stays open. You know, that's really ultimately that's all I care about. I'm one of the least complainers at the racetrack, because I want to be at the racetrack racing. That's all I've ever done. It's all I know what to do. It's the only thing I like.
So I petition anybody who has the ability to throw races, and then let us know your thoughts after the fact if this ever happens for some odd reason. Hold a race and throw every single car into the same class. And let's watch what happens at the end of that race. Okay? Because yes, bracket racing was created to give everybody a shot to do it, whether you're fast or you're slow. But when all those slow door cars either number one win or lose to all those fast cars, we're going to be on the other side of this conversation. Well, they should be in a different class of their own. He's got a delay box and I'm leaving off my foot. Well, he's got air conditioner in his car and it's 110 degrees outside. Hey, but watch what happens. You see? So we're going to be on the opposite side of the spectrum. But I'm curious to see what would actually happen if you throw a race. Entry fees the same for everybody. Payouts the same for everybody. Run what you brung. Bring any car you got. I don't care how fast it is. Put it in the beams and let's see what happens. I would love to know the analytics of that race and then be able to interview people who actually participated in that race just for scientific purposes.
Right. Well, it would be cool to do it once a year or something. You know, it would, like, obviously people wouldn't do that all the time. What's up, Mopar man? Good to see you. He's always in there talking to us on the Motor Mania chat. Mopar man, he's watching every single Motor Mania feed at the same time. He must have 7 TVs in his house.
Yep. Nope.
But yeah, man, that would be a very interesting thing. You know what would be actually more interesting? This would be an awesome way to do what you just talked about. Okay, at the end of the year, at your normal track, take, I don't know, say your top 10 in points of all classes. Like if you have maybe even top 20 in points of all classes, if you only have a couple of them. But make it be like 40 cars or something like that, maybe 50 cars. Put them all in the same class and do like a championship amongst that. So like every round a footbreaker wins, then they get a point. And every round a top bulb wins, they get a point. Whoever has the most at the end of it, then they actually are the ones that get the winner's purse. That would be kind of cool.
I like that.
Team championship.
I do. I like that. I like that.
It's not like if you win the race, it's not necessarily if you win the race you get something. Like I say the winners, like the winner and runner up should get like maybe like $1,000 and $500, but the team gets like all 10 grand or something.
Wow.
That would be cool.
Wow. Yeah. Urban Askew, he says he runs 23 seconds in the quarter. Says he doesn't care if he's running against a 7-second or an 11-second car. Cut the light and hold it down to the gas. May the best man win. I feel that way. Yep. I've been there. I like it.
Mopar man says he says they do exactly what we were just talking about. He says they call it a King of the Hill race.
I've heard of a King of the Hill now. I have heard of that. So
they usually give you a Wally at it, I think.
That's pretty interesting. How about or how about on the reward? Even if we don't do it in a team fashion, last man standing wins a dragster chassis, because that gives everybody, including the footbreakers, a chance that you normally wouldn't have. Now, you can't put it past a footbreaker to, especially a street car, just a regular street car. You can't put it past them not to put up a good lap on you. They will, So that gives them that chance to become a racer in a bigger car. Who knows? It's just that's a good thought. I like it. I do. It gives everybody a shot at getting there. So
the thing about bracket racing is the first person that you lay down on, that's the one that's going to whoop you.
I hear you there. Oh man, shoot. You said a lot. You said a lot right there. Well, in a few words, Danny Amos says, what I've noticed is a lot of the guys that drive their cars there and race them in a foot brake still have antifreeze and stuff in their cars. Yeah, I never drained out any of the antifreeze out of mine. The only thing I tried to make sure I did was leave that air conditioner off so I'm not just dropping water all over the doggone track.
Right.
But I still think it's pretty neat to think about. Something to think about. Somebody throw that. I think Wesley, you ought to throw that race. I think you get a crowd out there, man. I think you get a crowd on that race.
There was a guy that drove to the track the other day that we met that drove one of these. Well, this was a Hellcat, but he had a bunch of Demon parts on it. He said it made 800 horse to the tires. He drove there, went 640. He was into like third or fourth round in foot brake. And then he lost or whatever, and he drove out of the gate with 648 on his windshield and went home.
Oh, wow.
He drove the car. You know, like that's cool. Probably got 18 miles a gallon, 25 miles a gallon on the way home.
Those days are seemingly over. I can remember when I was younger, Mike Moran used to be one of the pro big fast Camaro he had, and he is street legal and all that, and they used to joke about he could just take this car out on the road and drive it. That's few and far between nowadays. You agree to disagree, or you think it's still out there?
I was reading a comment. I don't remember who you said, but did you say Dan Stone?
I said Mike Moran, but I know that name Dan Stone quite well.
Wait, am I thinking of the right one? Dan Stone he had the Camaro, right? What's the other guy's name that had all those Mopars? Or was that him he drove to maybe even the original World Foot Brake Challenge? I can't remember. But anyway, he drove somewhere, won like a 20-grander, and drove home. And that car went like 850s, and he did run it in top bulb sometimes, but I think he ran like 7 or 850s, but he had 4 mufflers on it to keep it quiet enough to drive down the interstate. But anyway,
Dan Smith.
Mopar man.
Dan Smith.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeremy.
That's
Jeremy McKay for the win.
Yep. The Mopar man says here, most successful racer I knew was a guy we called the old man. Garage full of Wallies and never drove anything faster than a 17-second car in his elder years.
Shoot.
Can't lay down on him, man.
You talk about a Hall of Famer right now is what you're talking about. Son of a gun.
Exactly. I mean, anything can win at any given time. It's just a matter of, really more than anything, it isn't even a matter of if that car's just a big pile of crap. Because if that guy who's driving that car understands how it works, maybe that car will vary 2/10 in a race. But if he knows when it's going to vary, he's got just as much of a shot as anybody. It's a matter of knowing what you're driving.
It's a fact, man. You got to go. This is bracket racing we're talking about. Cut the light. If you don't cut the light, you're done anyway. In my opinion. Yeah. I mean, you can try to make it look weird. Weekend. You can try to make it look as weird as you want to. I know we got the master of making it look weird in this chat. Don't think I don't know.
I just met a guy this weekend named WG Cash, and that's exactly what I was telling him. He goes, "So you going to tell everybody about that?" I said, "Yeah, I'll tell everybody about it." Whenever I lost third round this weekend, I picked the wrong time to miss the tree, George, because I was 39. I let go. I'm like, oh, man, And that guy, he was dialed within 100th of me, so it was like there was no time to bump down. I let go, and I'm like, oh, no. Uh-oh. And before you know it, it's wheeling real big, but my man was 005. So I was just like, well.
Giving up a bunch.
That's that.
Giving up a bunch. Oh, man. No, we got some good comments in here. Steve Taylor. Wesley Washington says, how about the late, great Steve Taylor? Remember that name, Casey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buddy. So, and Kevin Hoyt says he drove his 92 Maxima to the track. NOS and everything on it.
Yep. He was telling us about that on that stream.
On that live stream.
And his wife said, hey, we need to buy me a new car, please.
Yeah. Hey,
her car.
I'm going to do something here real quick. Hey, Wesley, when you coming on the show? Oh, Wesley Washington, we got a seat for you. You just let me know when you're ready, and we get you on here. Oh, Wesley, that'd be a good brain to pick if you're out there going bracket racing world. That'd be a great brain to pick right there. I'm telling you. So, Casey, man, we come up on that hour mark. Hour is easy to get rid of on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. I bet you guys out there didn't know we've been on here for an hour. You guys have been on here with us and just didn't realize an hour had elapsed. But now, what we got in closing, Casey? What you got?
Not a whole lot, man. Not going to have any I'm not going racing this weekend, and it's a good thing I chose this weekend to be a down weekend, because it sounds to me like I might be able to get to the racetrack and won't be able to find fuel to get back. So hopefully they get all that figured out pretty soon. But as always, we just want to thank all of our all the people who help us out. You know, TSR Racing Products, tsr-racing.com. You see all this stuff behind us. See these sweet solenoid wrenches that they sent us, and if you're a man that likes to have a couple beverages, they even put you a little bottle opener on there,
That's what
man.
I'm talking
So,
about.
yeah, thanks to Will over there for sending those our way, sending some shirts our way, stickers, everything. But we can't thank all of the viewers enough for being with us. WG, if you're watching this, I told you I'd tell everybody how much I sucked this weekend. So, what about you, George? You just trying to, you just itching to be able to go racing this weekend?
Itching's going to be an understatement here in the next couple of probably when it's time to go to bed. And let's just say I might not be able to sleep very easily for the next couple of days. Haven't been behind the wheel in a whole year. COVID kind of messed up my ability to drive a little bit there, and now I'm headed to get the S Dime and bring it back to Texas with me so I can do a little bit of drag racing. But certainly, thank you guys. You guys are the most important part. I'm talking to you guys out there in the Going Bracket Racing YouTube bleachers, if that's what you want to call it. BYOB. Don't get in trouble. But definitely, this show doesn't move without you guys. We certainly appreciate you chiming in. Certainly, if you've gotten any ideas or anything that you'd like to get out across to the fans or to the drag racing community and need a place to do it at, look no further. Who we are. Hit us up with a message on the Facebook page. Whatever you need to do, message us individually. It doesn't matter. We'll get you squared up there. So certainly have a look at the flyers coming up. There's these two races are definitely going to be something good coming up here very soon. I think one of them is even this coming weekend, and certainly we will look at seeing you guys next Tuesday with a little bit of a update, maybe some videos, maybe my adrenaline will still be rushing. You might get a different side of George. Who knows?
And do not forget, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel already, go over there and click that subscribe button. It takes you like 5 seconds. Helps me and George out a lot.
I heard that. The more subscriptions, invite your friends, whatever, family members. They're going to have fun. We crack jokes, and you guys can crack them along with us. We enjoy it. So, on behalf of Going Bracket Racing, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday.